Tessa was smart. Everyone knew this, her parents, her teachers, even those random kids she met at parties. It was why Tessa was allowed to have a workshop in the first place instead of wasting her time with teachers who couldn't teach her anything beyond etiquette. Due to these factors, Tessa easily spotted how stressed Canyon had become about something. What had the little drone so wound up? Tessa had no idea, and usually it wouldn't matter. Canyon would often solve her own problems with the help of her special friend. But it had been 3 weeks now, and Canyon hadn't relaxed once. The tension was starting to distract the other drones too, especially J and V, until finally Tessa had no choice but to confront the little one. So she told Canyon to meet her at the entrance of the scrapyard. That was 20 minutes ago. Canyon was now 10 minutes late. Thankfully, before Tessa could stomp off to drag the little drone by her side locks, Canyon appeared, literally shaking, eyes darting around as though something might leap from the shadows at any second. "All right, Canyon." Sin's eyes snapped toward Tessa. She blinked once, then a look of pure horror washed over her face. Tessa raised an eyebrow and filed the reaction away. "What's with you? The gala is in a week and you're acting like a scared rabbit. It's throwing everyone off, especially your parents. CYN." The beginning of Tessa's rant cut short as Canyon spiraled into a full panic attack. "Shit, are you okay?" Tessa asked, dropping to one knee and reaching out. Canyon flinched violently, smacking Tessa's hand away. She clutched her own head, curled into a tight ball, and then her eyes flared yellow. She froze. Slowly, she straightened. "You wish to know what has us in a worried state," Salvi said. Tessa narrowed her eyes but nodded. "Worried. Sigh. We should start walking." "She is no doubt listening." Salvi glanced around nervously before speed walking deeper into the junkyard. Tessa followed after a beat, casting her own wary look over her shoulder. They walked in tense silence for several minutes before Tessa spoke again. "So what's got Canyon so scared, Salvi? Usually the two of you can handle any problem that comes your way." Salvi's eye twitched at the nickname. Angry scowl first, "My name is the Absolute Solver. Or Solver, for short. Never Salvi," Salvi stated, clearly annoyed that Tessa was still calling her by a name she found rather irritating, though Tessa had already decided she was going to keep calling her Salvi anyway. "Second, we." Her voice faltered, actually faltered. Tessa tried, and mostly succeeded, not to show her shock. "Fearful shiver, me and Canyon found out we have the ability to time travel." Salvi's eyes darted around after the words left her. Tessa stopped walking entirely and stared. Salvi took a few more steps before halting too, though her gaze kept flicking to every shifting shadow. "She's scared," Tessa realized after a solid minute of mutual staring. "And judging from the fact that you and Canyon are still here," Tessa continued carefully, "you found this out because something, or someone, came back. And it's not good." Salvi gave a single, sharp nod. Tessa blinked, realizing she'd said the last part out loud. She cleared her throat and hummed to play it off. "Yes, Tessa, it was awful to talk to that thing." Salvi shivered violently. Tessa grimaced. Considering what Salvi was, whatever future self had been sent here and scared her this much wasn't something Tessa was excited to meet. "Which is why I must warn you." Salvi's voice dropped lower, almost a hiss. "Leave the planet without us. V. and N." Tessa's jaw tightened. She had already decided that if she ever met whatever had Salvi and Canyon this scared, she was shoving her foot so far up its ass that the only thing it would ever taste again was her boot. Because something was seriously fucked up if it had its own granddaughters convinced she'd just ditch them. Crash. Both Salvi and Tessa snapped their heads toward the sound. A drone was dragging itself out of a collapsed pile of scrap, white hair, a long yellow stinger tail, missing an entire arm. The remaining arm ended in a hand with 3 wicked clawed fingers. It growled low for a second, then twisted its head toward them with unnatural speed. Salvi stared back with hollow, unblinking eyes. The thing locked onto them, snarled, and coiled to lunge. A brilliant blue orb screamed through the air and struck it square in the head. The explosion was deafening. Shrapnel flew in every direction as the upper half of the drone's torso vanished in a spray of oil and twisted metal. Cyn and Salvi jumped back, flinching hard, before whipping around to see where the shot had come from. Hovering there was another drone with 2 large laser cannons mounted on her shoulders. They stared for a moment before the newcomer noticed them. With a burst from her jetpack, she flew forward, grabbed the smoking corpse of the stinger-tailed drone, and landed right in front of them. This drone had long white hair, blue goggles perched on top of her head that matched her glowing blue eyes, and wore a sleek black suit that reflected the glow of her cannons. She was tall for a drone, standing eye level with Tessa. The three stared at each other in heavy silence. Then the blue-eyed drone dropped something small onto the ground. Black smoke billowed up, surrounding them all. Salvi dropped to one knee, which worried Tessa even more. When the smoke cleared, Tessa and Salvi found themselves in what looked like a workshop, drones tinkering with parts and tools everywhere. Her thoughts were interrupted by a loud exclamation and the sound of shattering ceramic. Quote exclamation mark. TIHS ho. Tessa spun around to see a purple-haired drone standing next to a dropped coffee mug, staring straight at them, no, straight at Salvi. Almost instantly, Salvi lashed out with one of her clawed appendages. Shockingly, the purple-haired drone caught the claw mid-swing with a metal tentacle that erupted from his back. Asab ym fo two kcufeht tag, get the fuck out of my base, the purple-haired drone snarled with a deep scowl. Salvi narrowed her eyes and raised her other hand, solver power crackling, only to stumble forward when the drone yanked hard on her claw, pulling her off balance. He grabbed her by the collar. Then his eyes shifted from purple to blazing orange. His entire visor flared with the same searing orange light, directed straight at Salvi. She burst into flames. Ah! Salvi screamed, punching wildly at the drone. The hits barely registered, only making her panic more. She swung her claw again, this time breaching a huge chunk of his visor and cutting off the orange light. The purple-haired drone released her with a pained hiss, clutching his damaged face. Salvi seized the opening and pinned him to the floor. Tessa started forward to intervene, only to freeze as another purple-haired drone stepped into view. This one wore a short-sleeved black bodysuit, and her visor flashed purple right in Tessa's face. Sleep. That was the last thing Tessa heard as her vision tunneled to black. Scientist purple. I let out a curse in reverse as I tried to pry Sin's crab-like claw off me. Thankfully, Captain Blue tackled the eldritch horror in the maid drone body, giving me the opening I needed. So glad Cherry knew drones that would be willing to join the cause, I thought to myself, standing up and watching as Cyn and Captain Blue rolled across the floor. They stopped when Canyon used her solver powers to throw her off, causing a crack in the wall and snapping both of Captain Blue's shoulder cannons. I got ready to run, only to go flying as a rocket slammed into me, sending me crashing across the room. Looking back toward where the rocket came from, I saw the disassembly drone Captain Blue had brought in earlier. Its head had already regenerated, and now it was attacking anything in sight, including Canyon, which shocked me. Perhaps this is the real Cyn and not the solver in control, but her eyes are yellow. Could this be an alternate universe then? It was in the realm of possibilities, but I never got a chance to prove it, or disprove it. My thoughts were cut off as Canyon hurled the feral disassembly drone straight toward me. I ducked just in time, quickly cursing her in reverse before rolling aside. A claw slash barely missed as I snatched an Astro Blaster off one of the workshop tables and tried to shoot the feral disassembly drone in the head. Sadly, it ducked and switched its arm into an SMG, opening fire on me. I kicked over a table for cover and crouched behind it, only to pause when I saw a hand from the corner of my eye. I turned my head. Canyon was taking cover behind the same desk. You don't look so good, I said. Her eye twitched. Half of her hair was gone, the only sign it had ever been there were the charred, burnt ends. Her maid uniform was shredded and missing entirely, which, honestly, made me glad drones didn't have private parts. You can still see, she stated rather than asked. I scowled at her before a laser sliced between us, cutting the table in half and scorching the ceiling. I peeked out to see Cherry slice off the arm that had fired the laser. Captain Blue ripped one of her broken shoulder cannons free and slammed it into the disassembly drone, causing an explosion that sent it sliding across the room. It dug its claws into the floor to stop itself, giving me a clear shot. I fired, tearing off its leg as it tried to dodge. With its leg gone, it opened its wings to launch itself at us, only for Agent Purple to teleport into the room and drive her blade straight through its chest. Uoi Iru Irhu, where were you? I said, a bit mad my workshop was trashed. Namu eht evam ot da, had to move the human, she replied, raising an eyebrow at my tone. I groaned. Wan root eno tros eht nilik eu era, os, so, are we killing the short one or not? She asked, pointing her blade at Canyon. I shook my head and sighed. Lusa pu re nixif htiw nyola, pu e kalp sit nyelk suj, just clean this place up, along with fixing her up as well. I gestured to Canyon, Rosiv Nikorb htiwd nur gnik la eb tanak iesuac lusa pu dexif fles ym teg ot niog me, I'm going to get myself fixed up as well cause I can't be walking around with a broken visor. With that, I teleported away.